everyone, I hope you're all well. As seen from the title, this week's video is going to be a really interesting one. I'm basically going to tell you guys things that I wish I knew before going to university. Since I'm nearly starting my third year, there are a lot of things that I've picked up through my university experience that I wish I knew earlier that would give me a better and smoother journey in my university life. This is not in any particular order, so all of these are as important as each other. This is a big one. It's just kind of knowing the level of responsibility you're going to encounter when you step into university life and being an adult. Because going to university means that you are an adult yourself. If not, you are going to be an adult soon. Being an adult means that you have a lot of responsibility in hand. It's not something that you could dodge and avoid upon. This responsibility comes in many ways, and I feel like the biggest bits is mainly your academics. So learning how to time manage, learning how to be organized and make sure that you keep up with your assignments and homework. And it also comes into living in university as an adult, so from setting up your bank account, from setting up a phone number for your phone, especially international student, from police registration, international student as well. And if you're a home student, you also need to pay your school fee and all of that, because your parents wouldn't help you do that anymore when you go to university. You really need to keep up with your finance, I'm really trying. I know I'm a big spender and this is something that I really need to work on, but guys, I'm really trying. Admin things, your academics, no one is going to be there to nag you, so just remember that this would happen, and I don't want it to hit you like a truck like it did to me, because I know that I'm going to have responsibilities, but I didn't know that there will be so much coming in my way. Okay, the second thing is first year doesn't count. It sounds horrible the way I say it. I don't really know how to express this without making people slack off. Obviously, still try your best, but I don't want you to overstress. It's your first year of university, and I think you need to take into account of your well-being and just letting yourself kind of get used to the environment first. That just gave me a sense of relief, knowing that like if I do really bad, it wouldn't be taken into record. So I can't say this for every university in the world, but in the UK mainly, first year you just need a pass. If you pass, you will go to second year, and whatever grade you get, like no matter if it's a first class honors, second, upper second, it doesn't really take into record into your final degree. Don't put yourself into so much pressure that you think you need to do extremely well. Just make sure you need to take care of yourself too. So I'm just gonna let you know, but please check with your university, since I can speak for the University of Sheffield, but I can't speak for every single university. Third is you need to know that reading will take a lot of time and it will be a part of your lifestyle. You have to enjoy your subject. If you pick a course that you don't like, you will have a horrible time. Since you have to do a lot of reading on the course you've chosen in your free time, especially second year, since you don't have a lot of contact hours in uni, but don't you think that that means you have a lot of free time? Because most of the free time you will spend reading the readings that you kind of find yourself or your professor set for you. Fourth is university doesn't mean excessive drinking. I always mention this in most of my university video because I have so many questions from prospective students just telling me how concerned they are from not fitting in, and if they don't like drinking, how can they fit in with the crowd? Since I feel like media and films gives a really bad misconception that university means like house party, drinking, clubbing. It is true that you go clubbing, you go drinking, but it is not true that you have to go clubbing and drinking alone. It's ultimately down to your own choice, and if your friends pressurize you to drink, those aren't your friends. If you don't drink, it's not going to affect anyone. So if they force you to drink, it's a really bad move, and I feel like you need to get new friends. So don't ever feel like you have to excessively drink in uni, and I really don't want that to be a factor that is worrying you, because you definitely fit in. There isn't any hierarchy in uni. That is just really some high school bull, like who's most popular, who's like the coolest in the class. There isn't any of that in uni, and I'm pretty sure you will find people that you will get along with. Okay, I think as fifth, I picked catered accommodation for my first year of university, and I just assumed that I would need a cook because I picked catered, right? But especially if you're an international student going to a foreign country, you should learn how to cook a few dishes that would make you happy and feel like home. Since obviously I didn't grow up eating Western food, and going to University of Sheffield, a lot of catered food are based on Western culture because it's in the UK, right? So sometimes I do miss home food like noodles and rice and like stir-fry dishes. So I will cook for myself inevitably, even though I thought that I never will have to. So I feel like cooking is a skill that is always good to learn, and you have nothing to lose. It's just a new skill that you have. Even if you don't utilize it, it's just helpful in some way. So yeah, learn how to cook really. This is kind of a random one, but I do want to put this in the video since going to secondary school, I always just have to ask my teachers if I want to get out of the classroom, if I want to go to the bathroom. You need permissions, right, if you want to do something in class. But in university, you have to take into account that you're an adult, and if you do want to go to the bathroom, you don't need to ask your professor. I think it sounds really stupid, but then I did ask my professor in the first week of uni if I can go to the bathroom, since I was so used to asking my teachers in secondary school. And she was just like, you're an adult, you can just leave whenever you want, really, because we don't really have a say on your decision. So yeah, just to let you know, like university has a lot of freedom, therefore links back to my first point, you have to be responsible in your own actions. Okay, talking about that, I also want to mention that you now call your professor by their first name instead of their last name, unlike secondary school. So normally in secondary school, you would refer your teacher to Mr. last name, but in university, you just call your professor like how you call your friend. So like Peter, Mary, I don't know, Barbara, etc. You just call them by their names, which is pretty good. I feel like it's a better way to communicate. There isn't like a big hierarchy between you guys. You just feel like it's easier to talk to your professor like that. It's more like talking to a friend, which I love. But obviously you still have to respect them since they are your professor. But then you can you should normally call them by their first name. Yes, this one. In my first year, one mistake I made is I always stayed in my room to study, since I was so used to doing that back in A-levels. I go back home, I study in my own room. But now university has so many facilities for you to use. There's study rooms, there's libraries, there's nice cafes. I just want to encourage you to utilize that, because since you ultimately paid your tuition fee for these facilities to keep running, and why don't you utilize it when you are one of the many contributors to it? And it is technically exclusive to you, since university libraries are normally only open for university students to use. So it's just a great atmosphere to study since everyone around you are studying too. Last but not least, this is something that I've mentioned in my other videos, but I think this is quite important, so I do want to repeat it. So if you haven't watched my other videos, you would know, is learn how to reference before going to university, since this is something that you definitely have to touch upon at university. Even if you do like a math or sciencey subject, I feel like in some time of your course, you would have to reference something that you made, maybe your research paper or something like that. Especially if you do humanities subject, you definitely need to master referencing, since referencing is something really magical. If you get your referencing like super neat, really nice, no error, it has the ability to push you out a grade. So one thing that I always try to make sure is like triple, quadruple check on my referencing, since neat referencing shows that you care about your work. You actually spend time proofreading your work, and your professor do appreciate that. So check what referencing style your university uses, since my university, Sheffield, uses Harvard referencing style. It's something that's worth practicing, and it's like cooking, like you will have to use it ultimately, and I don't see why you shouldn't start practicing earlier on. So I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you're considering on going to the University of Sheffield next year, that's why you're at my channel. Just subscribe to my channel first of all, because I will pump out a lot of university content to help to make your experience as good as possible, as smooth as possible, and give you as much information as I possibly can about the university. And feel free to also message me on Instagram if you have any queries. People that messaged me before knows I answer all of your questions really thoroughly. Even if you're not going to Sheffield, I can just help you with general university inquiry. And yeah, I'm more than happy to help anyone, since when I was going to university, I wish there was someone there to help me through this transition, and now I can be that someone to help others, and I'm super happy that I am in the place to do that. So anyway, thank you you so much for watching this video. I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Strawberry